Welcome to Reverent and Rebellious, a safe space for faith-based conversations on the things that nobody seems to want to talk about these days. We are reverent, we value truth, we elevate scripture, but we are also rebellious. We shatter myths and we destroy dogma, so jump in. Join us, Logan, Pat, and me, the brother Peter, as we get reverent and we get rebellious.
We're all back together again.
Yeah. Your sickness went away. The sun is calming down. We're doing it, man. It's finally cool outside. I love it.
It's definitely improved. As I got like I actually got a whole pack of Vapo Cool Severes over here. Yeah, I don't feel bad, but you know like I've told Marcy, I'm curious y'all guys' thoughts here. I've actually told Marcy that I hate a stomach bug. Let me preface this. I hate a stomach bug.
Yeah.
I almost think I'd rather have a stomach bug than the cold, because the cold lasts for like 2 weeks.
I know.
A stomach bug's usually like 48 hours.
It just feels like 2 weeks.
It is terrible. Which would you rather have?
I don't even know, man.
Afterwards, I'd rather have a stomach bug. On the front end, I'd rather have the cold.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to puke 18 times from your toes all the way up. Yeah. I don't know. It just, stomach bugs they're usually they're violent and fast.
Yeah.
They're
volcanoes.
They are volcanoes. Yeah. It turns me into a volcano. Yeah.
Earthquake and a volcano all wrapped up into one.
Get the cold sweats. Yeah. I can't stand it.
If y'all don't want to have the earthquakes and the volcanoes,
you know what to do.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
And we need y'all. We were just talking before, and I wear y'all out, and I'm going to keep wearing y'all out about this. We got to get those ratings and reviews. Guys, we want to explain something here. There are other Christian podcasts. We are, whether we like it or not, we are in competition essentially with them. They are our competitors.
That's right.
And a lot of them have big marketing budgets. And we rely on word of the people.
Strictly.
You know what we ought to do since we're coming up on the 100th? We ought to have tennis balls. And so when people are at the podcast, when we're doing it live in front of people, if they have anything to say, we're just going to launch a tennis ball at them and be like, no, you didn't comment for 99 other episodes. You don't get one now.
There you go. Yeah. Unless it's Amber or Rhonda or one of our other guests. But guys, seriously, I've said this before. Share this with just one friend. I mean, I'm telling you, this is a really low bar task. All you got to do is copy that link, text it, Facebook message it, whatever you do, to just somebody and be like, hey, man, just check it out. These guys are funny. Or, Peter's really good. The other two are kind of dumb. But, I'm
going to give a praise real quick to Sydney. Sydney texted me a couple weeks ago, and she said, hey, I just want you to know that I'm listening to it on Spotify, and I shared it with a friend.
There you go.
There you go. That's all it takes.
Yep.
And it's so interesting because we now have one more review on Spotify than we did last time.
That's
right. We do. So that could be her.
It could very well be.
Very well could be.
Exactly.
Thank you, Sydney.
I'll tell you what's even better.
Amber, you're raising your kids right.
You are. If you know someone that'll hate this show, I really want you to send it to them, because that person will send it to 30 people. They'll be like, listen to these morons. And out of that, we will pick up some fans. So, guys, please leave us those ratings and reviews. Go and check. If you haven't done it, do it now. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit subscribe, comment below. Yep. You'll get to hear Pat. Did we get any good ones, Pat?
We did. We got two this week. We got a new friend, a lady named Deanne Morris. She says, great podcast. Context changes everything. And I agree 100%.
Yes.
And then,
dude, I thought you memorized these. At first I thought that was your phone. No. I'm like, man, Pat is really a baller tonight. He's like, I memorized him.
No,
sorry.
I read.
Sorry.
I have a 9th grade reading level. And then Miss Debbie, she sent us a message and says that book was over my head, talking about how to read the Bible for all its words.
Oh, yeah.
We did a few weeks ago.
It's supposed to be over your head. You're not supposed to get it all in one whack.
That's true. And it's I still go through it and drool on it a lot.
It's so good. It's so good.
What is the name? Tell the name of the book. How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth.
For All It's Worth.
Who's it written by?
Gordon Fee.
Okay.
Gordon Fee is a very famous academic guy.
Yeah, we plug it in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I want to make sure folks can check it out. I'm sure it's on Audible. I listen to a lot of books.
It's got to be.
It's
got to be on Audible.
Some people had it on Audible. It's a stupid good book. I mean, it's kind of like an intro to theology, an intro to
hermeneutics, basically.
Hermeneutics, how to understand different genres.
How to read the Bible, honestly. And and the nice thing I like about this is, not every scholar is going to agree with everything in this whole book, but it's written to be right down the middle.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
And there's YouTube videos to go along with it.
I know.
Oh, nice.
But it's like if you're Assemblies of God, you can read this book and benefit from it. If you are Presbyterian or if
or Branch Davidian.
Yeah, a Branch Davidian should have read this book before they started.
They would be with us today.
They could.
It gives a really good historical.
There'd be no branch.
It gives a good historical view. It gives a good literary view. It just breaks down scripture.
It helps you know what you're reading,
and it also helps us remove our biases.
That's right.
From our readings.
That's
yes, right. Which we talked about in a previous episode. Everybody has it. Yes, you got it.
We did. We talked a lot about hermeneutics. And some of you were probably just now introduced to that word or that subject or anything, but it's Herman? A real thing. Yeah, exactly.
Herman Melville.
Yeah. Herman Munster.
Yeah, that's where I went with it. Was Herman Munster.
We've been watching that. I've introduced my kids to the Munsters.
Oh,
I love the Munsters, man.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody with the Widow's Peak is Eddie Munster.
You've seen the Munsters?
Oh, I've watched a lot of
them. Right.
Okay, there you go.
It is. We were allowed to watch the Munsters, but not the Addams Family.
See, why?
Two things, because the Addams Family were a little bit more sort of witchcraft-y. And the wife dressed a little provocatively sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah, she did.
She did. But I mean,
Morticia was hot.
What was Lily? Wasn't Lily Herman's wife's name?
Yeah.
I mean, Lily was a very attractive woman.
Oh yeah, but she covered up more.
She did. But Herman, and I can kind of see Herman's just like he's like a goofy, funny,
big dumb dummy.
Yeah, he's like a big teddy bear. So it's not as dark, I guess, as Addams Family.
Right, it's a little lighter. And
I'm surprised you could watch the Monsters.
No, it was odd. It was like a crapshoot. Because we had to sneak to watch Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
You could not watch Gilligan's Island?
Did y'all watch F Troop?
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah,
was it because of the women dressing in Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly Ginger.
Yeah. Okay, I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, Ginger was. I believe
and she would sometimes, sing and dance seductively.
Yeah, she'd kind of move her hips around. Yeah.
Ginger was putting it out there on the island, man.
Yeah. I love Gilligan's Island. I love all those old shows.
Oh, Gilligan.
Yep. Three Stooges, man, that was my jam.
That's my show right there. I still watch that to this day.
Did you ever hear of a show called Dusty's Trail?
Yes,
I have. Who was in that?
Bob Denver was in it.
Okay, yep.
But then can't remember the old guy. It was essentially Gilligan's Island set in the Old West on a stagecoach.
Yeah. Now, it didn't run as long as Gilligan's Island.
Nowhere near as long.
Like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's the same thing with F Troop. F Troop didn't run that long either.
No.
But didn't the Munsters only run 2 seasons?
Might have been a little bit longer than that.
I don't remember.
Because I've got the collection. And I thought it was only 2, because I remember when I bought the collection, I was like, man, I just thought for sure this ran longer.
It might be. I don't remember.
Now, they made movies. There was like Munsters Go to whatever. Like, there were several movies.
Because, see, back in the day, my dad, when we first got satellite TV, we were popular, right?
Yeah, you're a big deal.
Well, they had this thing called Nick at Night.
Yep.
Oh,
and then we would, like, all the old things would come on. Yep. They had a Nick at Night channel. And so it was wall to wall, like Andy Griffin, F Troop, The Munsters, Addams Family. You name it. It was there.
Did y'all ever watch My Favorite Martian?
I never watched it. I've
Is
heard of it.
that the one with Robin Williams?
No, this is way before that. It's all black and white.
It sounds familiar.
I think I've seen it on TV Land, but I've never really watched it.
We loved that show. That was an awesome show.
Why does that
he was.
You've heard of it.
He was an old dude. I can't remember the actor's name, but
don't worry, I'll tell you.
He actually was a very serious theater actor.
Yeah,
and he was great.
I like to periodically go back and watch older stuff, and I have to be cautious because my kids are 7 and they still get scared really easy.
Oh yeah.
Which the Munsters don't scare them, but Fact or Fiction. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
with Josh Brolin, or not Josh Brolin? It's his dad, I think, James Brolin.
Yeah.
I was watching one day, and it's cheesy to me, but it was this woman. She sees like a dead woman in a mirror, and the kids were with me, and I watched it.
That would freak me out.
But it's so cheesy.
Right, so my favorite Martian was Ray Walton.
That's it.
Bill Bixby, Alan Hewitt, and Pamela Britton.
But my son ended up in our bed that night. He like started, and my wife was like, "Stop watching this stuff with him."
Okay,
I'm like,
so
it's cheesy.
So what about Courtship of Eddie's Father? Do you ever?
Yeah,
I had never even heard of that.
I vaguely remember it. It would be on. It wasn't my cup of tea, but my dad watched it all the time.
Bill Bixby is the star character in that.
Is he really?
I've never even heard of that one.
It was on for a while. It was on. It was contemporary with
NBC, man.
With the Bob Newhart show, Mary Tyler Moore show,
Incredible
all
Hulk.
those stuff.
See, I watched a bunch of these with my grandmother because she was a night owl.
Oh yeah.
And when I'd go stay over there, I Love Lucy, all those would come on late at night. And we'd sit up there and watch them.
Yeah, I watched I don't know how many of those.
I Love Lucy became a staple for me and Marcy. It's a nostalgia for me now, actually, with my kids, because when we brought the twins home from the hospital, I'd get up and help her feed them at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Sure, you would.
Yeah, I'd sit there and pat her on the back. But at that hour, we didn't have cable or nothing, and we just would turn on like the live TV, whatever, through the internet, and it would always be like I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
And so we watched I Love Lucy, and then for some reason the movie Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
What do they own?
That's random.
It is, and we would watch it, and so I Love Lucy and Some Like It Hot hold like a near to my heart place because it just takes me back to that.
The reason why I'm so familiar with F Troop is I remember my dad worked night shift, and he would get home about midnight.
Yeah.
And F Troop came on at 11:30 to midnight.
Yeah.
And so we'd get to watch almost all of it, and we'd hear the front door, and we had to turn the TV off and act like we were
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the most messed up premise for a show.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
For sure.
It's like none of that ever happens.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hogan's Heroes. That's all. See, my dad, that's all he watches. Hogan's Heroes, MASH.
Yeah.
All
MASH
those.
came on right next to
Emergency.
But see,
we used to watch Emergency.
But it's like Andy Griffin, though. I loved Andy Griffin.
Yeah.
Mayberry RFD or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was trash.
Yeah,
I never watched it, but I love Andy Griffith's show.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are classics, man. They just don't make them like that anymore.
Happy Days, man.
Happy Days is good, man. The Fonz, man. Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so this is your commission is to comment which oldie show is yours. Now, some of them are going to say, like something that's not that old.
Yeah, Sydney is probably like, what are these shows they're speaking
like
about?
Power Rangers.
Yes.
Yeah, she's going to say Touched by an Angel. Or something.
I'll tell you what. You know
one of those old
Amber,
shows.
you probably were watching Touched by an Angel. That seems like your kind of show.
You know, the one that freaked me out was the Twilight Zone. You remember that show?
I love that show.
That and
It's
Alfred
great.
Hitchcock Presents.
Yeah,
that freaked me out. And then we were watching Tales from the Crypt not long ago.
I love that
freaked
show.
My daughter out.
I love
and
those.
I was like, it's generational.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
like
true.
When I was a kid, it was Are You Afraid of the Dark? We used to come on, and I kind of liked it. But I love Tales of the Crypt, and I love all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
TV's not TV anymore.
No, I mean, my dad was introducing me to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was like 7 years old. So
There you
Now
go.
you get 16 and pregnant.
yes,
My
yes,
1,000-pound life.
yeah, yes, yeah. I do. I'm really curious. Like, let us know your show.
You know what, Rhonda? You better weigh in on this.
That's it. She's going to say something like Downton Abbey or something
Yeah,
like that.
come on. You got to do better than that.
No,
Come on.
Rhonda's got a gem in there. I know she does.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. She's gonna have some obscure show from
That we've
the
never
70s
heard
that we've
of.
never heard of
Yep.
ever. It's gonna be made in France or something like that.
See,
Amber,
Rhonda,
ask Pete.
she's
Ask
a
Pete
level
what his
above.
was.
yes,
Yeah.
we have set the bar high for Rhonda.
I can tell you what pizza is. It's got to be Gunsmoker Bonanza, right?
Yeah.
You
Now
gotta
those
be.
are great.
I
Those
know,
are great
they're
shows.
awesome.
Yeah, Rawhide,
Yeah,
man.
so Clint Eastwood
Clint
back in the day.
Eastwood,
The
right?
Rifleman.
Yeah, Rifleman,
Rifleman,
running
yeah.
that lever action, man. Yeah,
Exactly. Love it.
Wow, we all just went down memory
I
lane.
know.
didn't
we did. We could just
Yeah.
start a nostalgic TV podcast.
Good.
fun trip.
Yes, we could.
Who is it that hates our back and forth? Shannon.
Yeah.
She right now she's like
she's in recovery.
Yeah,
she's on pain
she's
meds.
bedridden. So.
Yeah, Shannon's on pain meds. She loves it right now.
Yeah,
she's probably laughing for no reason at this moment. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go, guys.
Shannon, we love you though.
Well, before we get into what we're talking about, you probably got a little funny story for us.
I have this dark humor today.
I love some dark humor.
I love it.
This just caught me off guard. I was not seeing this coming, and I laughed, and I thought, no, I got to share this. So I apologize in advance because this is certainly not something usually.
All right, I'm excited.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the day after his wife vanished in a kayaking accident, Mr. Wilkins of Anchorage opened his door to find two serious-looking Alaska State Troopers. Mr. Wilkins, we regret to inform you we have news regarding your wife, one trooper began. Tell me, did you find her? The troopers exchanged glances. One said, we have some bad news, some good news, and some fantastic news. Which would you like first? He says, oh, yeah, give me the bad news. He said, I'm sorry, sir, but we recovered your wife's body in Kakamak Bay this morning. Oh, no. What's the good news? The trooper said, when we pulled her up, we found 12 giant, juicy king crabs hanging on her. Whoa. Okay. All right. What's the fantastic news? We'll be pulling her up again tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'm here for it. I like some dark humor.
Appreciation.
They know I like some dark humor. I was showing them some of my Anthony Jeselnik is my favorite. If y'all know who he is, you already are like, whoa. Yeah. I won't be playing any of his clips for you guys on here.
No, we won't even be repeating any of his jokes.
It's bad.
He is brutal.
But I'm also a Norm Macdonald guy too.
Yeah.
Dirty Johnny, still the best one.
Right now, I'm a Nate Bargatze guy.
I love Nate Bargatze.
He speaks my language.
I've been on Matt Rife's crowd work.
I'm just not a big fan of that guy.
Oh God, his crowd work is hilarious.
Nate Bargatze is great. Me and Marcy went and saw him at the Orpheum.
Oh, that's good.
He is great, and he's clean. You could play some of his jokes on here.
Yeah.
I've never heard him say anything bad.
No.
But are the clean ones as fun?
Nate is fun. Have you ever watched him? Dude, he is really good.
Okay.
He is hilarious.
And he jokes about his cleanness. Like sucks. He talks about growing up and sucks was a bad word.
Oh, so you relate.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what it is. You relate.
Yeah, he talks about, my parents became Christians when I was in like 8th grade. And so I got the most Christian out of the Christian parents.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
Oh, yeah. And then they got tattoos because of his sister.
Yeah.
And he said I was like, this really stinks what you guys are doing. Yeah. He is one. Check it out. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So
what are we talking about?
Well, we're on this straight out of context.
Straight out of context.
Straight out of context.
I don't have a cool sound effect for it.
I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Oh, as we just middle-aged man it right through the
That's
section.
exactly right.
Yes.
But basically what we're doing is we are sort of spotlighting, highlighting, looking at either verses or passages of scripture that are often taken out of context. And so in some ways, we don't necessarily, we're not like becoming heretics or anything like that, but it's not really helpful to get the full meaning of what we're reading.
Yeah.
And sometimes we really misapply these verses.
Absolutely.
And so we looked at the whole concept of hermeneutics and why bad hermeneutics cause us to take these verses out of context. And then we looked at probably the top 5 most popular taken out of context verses. And it's not necessarily a terrible thing to say that, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, help you and all this stuff. But when we really understand the context around it, it has a distinctly different tone to it.
You know what would be fun is to take those top 5 and apply them to a certain denomination.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would be. But, then we did the I can do all things. How many things? All things. Yeah, and we've all heard somebody preach a message.
Yeah, I've been thinking about flying off of my roof.
Yeah,
every athlete has that tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And how, 80% of the references on social media are about exercise. I can do all things. I can make it past this, milestone.
When I benched my PRs, I got on there and I prayed, God, I can do all things.
I can blow out both my kidneys.
I was going to say, so when I busted on bench, I said, I should have prayed harder.
Yes, I say, will the Holy Spirit rush upon me like it did Satan or Samson, not Satan. Yes.
I don't need no spotter.
That's what you do. You just don't have a spotter, and you better get the weight.
Yeah, you be praying fast. I'll tell you that.
I can do all things when I'm terrified beyond belief.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking last week after we did this first sort of introductory episode, and it's like, okay, well, we could, pick out a few more sort of life verses, key verses, and sort of go through them and continue the series that way. But I thought it would be so much more interesting to try to find a big chunk of scripture, either a book of the Bible or a passage or several chapters or a concept or something like that we often just misunderstand or that we don't get all the way into. And so really what came to mind is the idea of the relationship between the Old Testament to the New Testament. Now, we've been through this a lot because we went all the way through Revelation, and Revelation.
We're going to do that
it's
again.
A mirror to the Old Testament.
Starting next week.
Yeah, we're going to start back over on Revelation.
I'll go on sabbatical next week.
Yes. No, for 28 weeks or however.
22. No,
22
we split two of them, so it would have been 24 weeks.
24 weeks, yeah. It felt like 48.
It felt like 129 by the time we got done, but we made it all the way through.
We did.
Were limping.
And really, we needed to complete all of those for the archives, because once,
Now
anyway,
they're there.
I can do all things.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Even Revelation.
We would quote that every day before we started.
One thing that occurred to me, because this is what I grew up with, is that we are New Testament Christians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Old Testament, we don't really dig into it too much because it's just
old,
backdrop.
man.
And really, all it does is show us how much we need Jesus.
Yeah.
And now we got Jesus, so
it's
we don't
not
need
applicable to us anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I hear, I was raised on a lot of this, and I've even heard a lot of this lately. That talking about the temple and the Old Testament sacrifices, especially the ones that are outlined in Leviticus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Leviticus, have you ever read through the book of Leviticus?
Yeah, isn't that the one where it talks about like the coat of many colors and the shrimp, can't eat shrimp or whatever?
The coat of many colors is Genesis.
Well, no, but I mean, can't mix.
2 different fabrics.
Mix fabrics, that's right.
Yeah.
The Levitical law type stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the Levitical law.
Yeah.
But the first 6
not Joseph and his coat.
That would be Genesis. Yeah, that's for sure. But yes, they're all of these, and usually it's a funny thing because usually when people decide they're going to do the Bible in a year,
that's where they quit.
They stop here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they start there.
I'm guilty. I've done it several times.
They get to Leviticus and they go, how many chapters does this have anyway?
Yeah.
I mean,
I figured it was Numbers.
Oh, that's a tough one too.
If I make it to Numbers, that's where I quit.
Yeah.
But usually I don't make it there.
Yeah. Leviticus has 20.
I will say I have probably read the book of Leviticus maybe twice. It's not one that
I'm my eyes half open.
Yeah, whenever I'm in that moment where you open the Bible, speak to me. I don't open to Leviticus.
You remember the old movie Short Circuit?
Yep.
I Johnny number 5 and just
that's right. Yeah, I read it. Technically, I read it.
Yeah,
yes,
I try to.
It's interesting because I guess it was about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago. I went through Michael Heiser's podcast study on Leviticus, and we were all joking about how this is the one book that nobody wants to hear. Nobody's going to listen to these podcasts, but it is absolutely riveting when you really dig into it.
It's a wealth.
Yeah, and we're not going to go through the whole thing. In fact, we're really what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this relationship between the sacrifices in the Old Testament and salvation that is through Jesus in the New Testament.
Yeah.
So you're telling me people in the Old Testament couldn't get saved?
See, that's the big controversial question because So here's the mind-bending concept. Okay, so how many faithful believers in Yahweh are in heaven right now?
All of them.
How?
Jesus.
But they didn't know Jesus.
No, but they met him later.
Were they grandfathered in?
Yes.
I mean, if you got to be saved by believing in Jesus and none of them had any context of Jesus.
It was like a scratch-off ticket. They couldn't scratch it until Jesus came.
See, and so other people will then say, well.
Then we shouldn't tell the tribes about him and the dissolute tribes out there. If we just don't tell them, then they're saved by ignorance.
Yeah, saved by ignorance.
There you go. Yeah.
No,
that's a good point.
but it says Abraham believed, and it was accounted to him as righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Righteousness.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the big quandary. Okay, so we got Abraham, right? Chosen by God, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Did Abraham ever get circumcised?
No.
Not that I know of.
Okay. So he was kind of pre-circumcision kind of thing. He might have been circumcised later on.
Yeah, but when he was Abram.
When he was chosen, was he circumcised?
No,
he was not. Did he ever perform any of these temple rituals?
No.
Was he present at the tabernacle?
No.
Did he stand on Mount Sinai and get the covenant from God?
No.
He didn't do any of these things. He didn't check any of the boxes.
He's a heathen.
We would all agree that Abraham has got to be in heaven, right?
I would surely think so. Wouldn't that be a slap in the face if God's like, appreciate what you did, boss?
Yeah, but
see ya. You never knew me.
The sons of Abraham, not you.
Yes.
But that's the wild thing about it is so Abraham encountered circumcision later on. He encountered God in many unique and different ways. God told him to sacrifice his son, and so he obeyed, and God provided a substitute. All this stuff happened with Abraham. But when you make a statement that, and a lot of people have made this statement, that the sacrifices, the animal sacrifices in the Old Testament were just a substitute or a temporary fix for salvation until Jesus came.
But the sacrifices were two different things
from
what Jesus sacrificed was.
But when we look in here and we see the temple, God lines out all of these sacrifices. Mm-hmm. And so and a lot of these, you can go into the New Testament, you kind of cross link and connect these to when Jesus said, I'm going to fulfill the law. Mm-hmm. I'm going to, so it's like, I'm the better sacrifice. When he's talking about the bread of life and all this stuff. And so you say, okay, well, that was their salvation then.
Oh.
So then they're saying that Abraham did not have salvation.
Or how about the Jews when they were taken in exile to Babylon and they couldn't sacrifice?
Yeah. What about Moses?
Yeah.
What about Noah?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, we know that people like Noah,
Enoch.
I don't think Samson was showing up and doing it. Samson was he made a lot of sacrifice. He was making a lot of offerings.
Enoch walked with God before there was a temple.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
But isn't that a case where they say, like, all creation points to a creator?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that how you would try to, because this is interesting.
Spoiler alert, this is going to be my view on this. I think
they're all in hell.
Yes. I think it's way more about our intention than our methodology.
Well, also, we have to remember that Yahweh, God, they knew him by his name after Moses and the burning bush, which we're gonna tackle this week. Okay, so but they didn't have a revelation of Jesus the Son or God the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Okay, so it was all they knew was Yahweh, all this stuff. Now, okay, so what was then the concept of salvation or eternal life in the Old Testament? Where did they believe that you went when you died?
Abraham's bosom.
I don't know.
Well, the place was called Sheol.
Sheol.
Yeah.
They're separated in chambers.
The concept of Sheol developed later on, and we kind of get some clues from the New Testament that some of these ideas that developed. So you got
Is that
Sheol.
Where purgatory comes from?
Was Abraham saved? They named the place after him.
They're like, your bosom. Your bosom, Abraham.
But that's pockets.
But I know. Couldn't you just come up with like Abraham's pocket? You got to call it my bosom.
Shirt pocket, man. Shirt
Abraham's back pocket. That's what we're going to call it right now.
You know, in heaven, they're like, your bosom, Abraham.
That's a T-shirt right there.
Yes.
But the concept developed to where they believed by the time it got to the New Testament that Sheol was divided into 3 compartments.
Okay.
One for the the sinful watchers that were the spirits chained forever and ever.
Yep.
One was for the unrighteous, and one was for the righteous. Which that was called Abraham's bosom.
But who came up with that?
It just sort of developed over time.
Abraham.
Yeah, he said, y'all sit in my back pocket.
Y'all just be in my bosom one day, all right?
I'm going with it. It's Abraham. Abraham come up with it.
One day I'm going to give you my bosom. So you can just
He's like, my boy already had my bosoms there, No,
that was Noah.
No, oh, that's right.
Oh, boy.
I'm getting my stories.
Same book.
They need to look in there. They need to look deeper into that story.
They really believe that.
Haters like, let's get out of here.
I'm moving on.
Noah's trench.
We will actually tackle that story.
Oh gosh, that'll be a crazy one.
I know. Yeah.
June has already passed.
What do you mean?
Pride Month. We didn't miss.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And actually, we'll talk about it.
You stupid.
All right. So Sheol, in all the Old Testament, was a place where all the dead gathered, regardless of moral status.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you weren't dying, you were going to Sheol.
Yep.
Okay.
Psalm 88 calls it a realm of darkness, silence, and forgetfulness. Psalm 6 and Isaiah 38, you're cut off from active relationship with God. It's described in terms of not punishment exactly, but a dreary, diminished, disembodied existence.
This doesn't sound very great.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. It wasn't like hell. It was just a place where human spirits went after their bodies died.
Yeah, you cross the finish line, but you don't get the prize yet.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing, though, because you think, okay, well, then what did Old Testament people do to guarantee eternal life with God?
Live righteously.
But see, that's the thing.
How do you, though?
They didn't even have that concept really well developed.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the New Testament where you had the Pharisees, the Sadducees. Sadducees did not believe in resurrection.
That's what they were saying.
And I was saying they were turd heads anyway. So
they were sad, you see. Yeah, exactly. But then the Pharisees did. But and so here's why the Pharisees did. Because there are some little breadcrumbs in the Old Testament that give us a little idea that the sort of concept of resurrection or eternal life with God was floating around in their brain somewhere. We know that Enoch and Elijah were taken. Where were they taken? Well, they weren't taken to Sheol.
They were taken up to the Father.
Yeah, because they went body, spirit, and all. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were the champs of champs.
They were.
Completely. And then
legends never die.
In 1 Samuel 2:6, he speaks of God's ability to bring back from Sheol or to
conjures
bring out of
Samuel.
Yeah, later on, that's exactly right. Is what happens. And then, of course, we get the metaphorical language about Israel's restoration, the dry bones thing, and that can go
Ezekiel.
beyond. And then Isaiah 26 says, "Your dead shall live; their bodies shall rise." And then Daniel, of course, the prophet, he says, "Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake." Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. That really is like the most explicit idea of somebody in the Old Testament saying, hey, someday I'm going to have eternal life with God.
Yeah.
In Psalm 49, King David gets this idea. He says, "But God will redeem my soul from the power of Sheol, for he will receive me."
Yeah.
And then in Psalm 16, he says, "For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol." That means leave it there. I'm going there, but you're not going to leave it there.
Yeah.
Or let your Holy One see corruption. And then Psalm 73 says, "You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will receive me to glory. Okay, so now Psalm 16, for you not abandon my soul to Sheol, or let your Holy One see corruption. They picked that up in the New Testament in Acts 2 and Acts 13. They saw that as a prophecy of Christ's resurrection.
Yes. Yeah.
So David applied it to himself. They applied it to Jesus. Okay. So if that's not what all the sacrifices were about, then what were they about? And really, if you don't have that idea that, they experienced salvation and the hope of eternal life in the sacrifices, so that's the way we do it in Jesus. If that's not true, then what do you do with these sacrifices?
Well, and I think it's also important too to talk about, when did we institute sacrifices? When were they instituted?
Well, they were instituted shortly after the whole Exodus.
So all the way up to captivity in Egypt and the wilderness, there were no sacrifices.
No.
Yeah, who came up with that?
Well, there was this idea swimming around in the culture, Mesopotamian culture, ancient Near East culture. There were burnt offerings regularly given, mostly to the gods,
pagan gods.
See, and that's what. So it's almost a pagan thing to do, really.
It is. They borrowed it from the pagans.
Yeah.
When Abraham offered an offering, when Job offered an offering, they were modeling it after what the pagan culture already did.
Humanly worship,
but they were pointing it to a different deity.
Humanly worship to an absolute God.
Yes. So I wanted us to get into these sacrifices here.
Okay.
Because and of course we're fast forwarding to tabernacle / temple language here.
Sure.
So we start with the tabernacle, which is God's dwelling place. It is God's meeting place, right? Okay. So but then this continues on into Solomon's temple, and it became like the institution, like in Solomon's day, and then all the way up until the temple was destroyed the first time. This is what you did. Because God decreed it. Yeah. And it started in Leviticus. Now, do you know why Leviticus is named Leviticus?
Because they're Levites.
Yes. It is literally the duties of the Levites.
There you go.
So, Leviticus. That's what us do. Yeah. So, and so this is largely, sort of falling on the shoulders of Aaron and his sons, all the Levites. And
little side note too, when Paul talks about helps in spiritual gifts, that's closely related to the duties of a Levite.
That's right. That's exactly right.
There you go.
You are implementing the worship that happens in the temple. Yep. Okay. So this is why I wanted to reorient ourselves just a little bit toward this idea that these offerings were not exactly what
salvation.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. We have this idea that when an ancient Israelite messed up, right? Like committed a crime, stole something, or whatever.
2 chickens.
Yeah. Well, but all you'd have to do is just like we go and we ask for forgiveness, right? If we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us our sins, cleanse us from all unrighteousness. That's what they were looking for when they would bring these animals.
So was there a hierarchy of it? Like if you killed somebody, would you have to take
Here's the funny thing about it.
18 chickens.
Okay, so all of these sacrifices, now none of these sacrifices have something directly to do with your own moral failure.
Right.
Okay.
It's like there is no way that you can eliminate the sin in your life and make it just as if you'd never sinned.
Yeah.
They determine your position, correct?
Your status, shall we say.
Okay.
It wouldn't be a hierarchy, but you would be either in the community still or out of the community.
So then the offerings are more for your community status than they are for God?
They are much more about, 2 things. Ritual purity and covenant faithfulness.
Okay.
Okay. So the idea was that now with the advent of the tabernacle, you now have a sacred space, right? So this is where heaven and earth overlap as much as it can since the Garden of Eden.
Right.
Yeah.
And so old Stank Booty Logan can't just walk up in there. No. So he has to go through these rituals. These sacrifices.
That's exactly right.
Got to clean that stink
exactly
butt.
Right. And that's exactly right. What's Hebrew for stink butt?
Scubalon.
Scubalon's pretty
man.
close.
That's Greek.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, it is. That is.
But
that's the what Peter's got to slip stank butt in his sermon there.
I'm probably not going to do that.
We may have got him. We may
probably not going to do that.
We may have stumped him.
I can't put vulgarity in there, you know. But anyway, so the idea is, and we'll see this all the way throughout into the New Testament. God is holy, right? Holy, pure, and there is an energy in holiness, righteousness, purity, all this stuff that is God. There is an energy there. It cannot tolerate anything unclean or sinful.
Some people call it God's wrath.
You might, and wrath sounds like such a terrible negative
but
English
it's
word.
not. It's just the nature, the power of God.
So is electricity good or bad?
Yes.
Exactly.
If you pee on it, it ain't good.
That's exactly right.
If you plug in your light bulb, it's great.
And so think of a transformer on on a big old pole, and something's wrong with it. Something's come disconnected. The lineman has to go handle the transformer
with respect
and with certain protections and because you can't let that energy touch you.
That's
because you are not electric.
That's right.
Well, you might be for an instant.
Yes. Tusik Masria.
Oh, all right. That's not nearly as good as scuba.
Tusik Masria. That is stinky butt in Hebrew.
I think you just got to fit in stank into a sermon. If you can get stank in there, we'll call it.
It said there is no stank butt in Hebrew.
That's right.
So it was like the closest thing is stinky butt. That's why that's what I use it for. How do I say stank butt in Hebrew?
But that's exactly right though. Like we see this when they go to study the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
It's not that God was mad at this person. No. It was just he was not clean.
He wasn't supposed to touch it.
And he touched the power of God in an unclean state. The unclean state cannot exist where a holy state is.
Are you going to share what you were telling us about the diver on here?
Yeah, yes.
Am I busting you out?
No. After we get through a few of these.
All right, I was going to say, because you got to share that, because it's awesome.
It is awesome. I completely agree. So, ritual purity is super important because people are supposed to be able to, in the context of sacred space, be able to encounter God in a tangible way.
That's right.
But even the sacred space had a more sacred area that couldn't, like, even a clean regular person could not enter.
Well, that's why they had the priest, and then they had the high priest. Like certain people could only go to certain levels.
And it's special designation by God. And the high priest had to go through way more cleansing rituals. And did you know that the high priest had to wear special underwear?
Yep.
You did. I think he shared on here that he wore special underwear.
Yep.
I wear holy underwear.
So when he climbs the altar, nobody sees his priestly privates.
Ah, there you go.
See?
Yep.
See?
That would change the mood a little bit in there.
It really would. Talk about stank.
How would you take that guy seriously? It's like,
now we're going to pray.
Oh, holy God. And the other part of it is, basically unclean, not touching clean.
Yep.
That's like a big deal.
Oil and water.
And then also the covenant that God made with the Israelites, not just the 10 Commandments, but the other 600 and some.
613.
It's like we know that that covenant is going to be breached in some way on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things between clean, unclean, also faithful and not faithful. Basically what we're going to do is, if you look through the first 6 chapters of Leviticus, we're not going to read the whole thing. We're just going to skim a little bit. But what you will find there is...
It's 5, right?
Yeah, but it leaks over into the 6th chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, 6th chapter.
Well, I mean, there's 5 sacrifices.
5 primary offering sacrifices that they were commanded or invited to engage in.
Okay.
So if you found yourself in a particular state, there was, like we got an app for that. We got a solution for the state that you're in.
So you showed up and you're like, priest, I murdered a man. he's like, all right, there's 18 chickens in the back.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Exactly it's like you need sacrifice 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing about it, though, is it's very, very detailed. And of course, as you get further on into Leviticus, there's all sorts of nuances with these sacrifices. There's other, feasts and festivals that are kind of, alluded to. Mm-hmm. Then we've got the whole codes, the codes. That's where the fabric comes in, and the shellfish comes in, and the food codes and the sexual codes and all this stuff.
Clothed and hooved animals.
Mm-hmm. Some denominations still cling to that.
The Jews do.
The one we covered them. They call themselves the Hebrews. Basically, there's a guy I've interacted with on Facebook, and he is staunch about it. He's like, I don't wear man,
cotton only.
Yep.
Yeah. I know.
Yep.
They didn't grow cotton out there in the desert, but that's who cares?
Camel's hair.
Do you wear animal skin?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, but this is like the setup to the whole thing. So if you read this, you're gonna and you understand this, you're gonna get a lot more out of the rest of Leviticus.
Gotcha.
Because it's going to explain why all the codes are what they are, and all of that. This is how we're keeping ourselves separate from. And you see, the main concern of God and His people was that they do not become like the pagans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see this sort of weaving through these 5 sacrifices, because this actually reveals the character of a God who is very different from the gods of the other nations.
Isn't it weird, though, that God always chooses the way that other people worship their gods to show that He's the true God?
And He flips it around.
Well,
isn't it weird how He always does that?
That's what I was kind of thinking. It was kind of funny. It's like, we don't want to be like the pagans, so we're going to do what the pagans are doing to like honor our God.
I know. But think about this, though. It's partly a natural human nature. I mean, okay, so they sing. So we're not going to sing. We're going to just make guttural noises.
Yeah.
No, we're going to sing in a particular way.
I think we should just do guttural noises.
I don't know. Worship would be really interesting if we were like,
I know. But see,
Wakanda forever.
God's not going to, God created all these wonderful things, and He created these, the ability to, the animals and the altars and He created us as ritual kind of beings.
Yep.
So He's not going to let that go. He's not going to let everybody else just use it.
They don't get to have all the fun.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to use it in the proper way to worship the proper God.
Christian fun.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Rebranding fun.
That's right. Yeah. Let's see. What is the Christian Netflix call it again?
Pureflix.
Pureflix.
Yes.
And I can tell you right now, 94% of the films on there are hot garbage. They're just so poorly made.
How dare you, Pat? You just offended somebody.
Have you ever heard like a guitar player that says they can play, and then they get up there and play, and they say, "Yeah, it's worship." And it's like, no, God will give you that one back.
No. He gave it to you because He didn't want it.
That's right.
Okay, so let's get into it in the time that we have left. And
okay, let's roll.
Man, we have just really messed around today, but that's okay.
We're excited.
It's a fun one, man. This has been fun.
I know. So the first offering that we see is called the OUTTA.
Okay.
And it is the burnt offering. Okay. So listen to the language here, and this is why we have a hard time reading through all this stuff, right? The Lord called to Moses. Now, the Lord is calling to Moses not now from Mount Sinai, but from the holy place, from the inside of the tabernacle, and He's giving him all this instruction. So Moses is like chatting with God. Yeah. So God says, "Speak to the sons of Israel. Say to them, when any man of you brings an offering to the Lord, you shall bring your offering of the animals from the herd of the flock." So sheep or, cattle or sheep, bulls or sheep. Yeah. If his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he shall offer it a male without defect. He shall offer it at the doorway of the tent of doorway of the tent of meeting, that he may be accepted before the Lord. And here's how it goes. He'll lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering so that it may be accepted for him to make atonement on his behalf. Now, tuck away that word atonement. We're going to sort of see that it doesn't really necessarily mean what we think it means. Okay. And he shall slay the young bull before the Lord, and Aaron's sons, the priests, shall offer up the blood, sprinkle the blood around on the altar that it is at the doorway of the tent of meeting. And then he'll skin the burnt offering, cut it into his pieces. The sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire on the altar, arrange the wood on the fire, so on and so forth. And basically, and there's all these other details.
The entrails.
They arrange the pieces, the head, the suet over the wood, which is on the fire, that's on the altar. Its entrails and its legs he shall wash with water, and the priest shall offer up in smoke all of it on the altar for a burnt offering, an offering by fire of a soothing aroma to the Lord. Okay, so so basically the whole thing is burned up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they wash the entrails with water because there's extra blood on those. And there's this big thing about blood. We're not going to drink blood. We're not going to involve ourselves with blood. We're going to eliminate all the blood that we can from this offering because the blood is the life force. Yeah, it's that whole thing. So, okay, so it's at the doorway, right? So, so what do you think this offering is for? Is it for, it's like I really messed up and I played the lottery and spent my paycheck, so I need to be. It's nothing like that.
It sounds like it's almost inviting the Lord in.
It's also making it okay for the Lord to invite you in.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because you're doing it in the doorway.
The way I'm reading is that he may be accepted.
Yes, and now keep in mind these first 3 offerings are voluntary.
Right.
This is not
so this is a voluntary offering. Yeah.
Now you were expected, and then this is the idea is that you would be able to enter the tent of meeting and have an experience with God there, whether it be now there was usually,
and this would be the outermost.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the entrance to the whole thing.
Yeah. This is your entry ticket. Yeah.
And these offerings are also, or these sacrifices are also arranged to go as far as the person observing the offering is allowed to go.
Right.
So you can go into the court.
Yeah.
You can't go any farther than that because after that's the holy place and only the priest can go there. And then there's the Holy of Holies. Yeah. Only the high priest. So this is voluntary, but you're expected to want to come to the tent of meeting and basically co-dwell with God for a moment. I want to worship, and I want to worship in God's presence, and I want to be there. And when there's usually singing and dancing and all this stuff going on. And so this is the way you do it. And why do you do it? Because, and this is where we encounter this word atonement. This word atonement would be purification, decontamination, qualification. It's that kind of thing. Okay, so you now have the stamp of approval here, right?
I like that it says it's covering up, like as in pitch. And it's like, it covers you temporarily. Well, it's like this. Yeah. This is your black tie event. Here's your tie.
That's exactly right.
Come on in, and then return your tie when you leave.
That's exactly right. And that's why it's done at the doorway, because you're not allowed to cross the threshold until this is complete. Fully complete. Okay, so the entire animal except the hide was burned on the altar. Okay, so then we read down a little further, and you got, he says, if the offering is from the flock of the sheep or the goats, then here's how you do it that way. If you're too poor for all that, you can offer birds. You can offer turtle duds. That's
for the really poor.
Or young pigeons. And it says the priest shall bring it to the altar, wring off its head, offer it up in smoke on the altar. Blood is drained, sprinkled, all this stuff, and there you go. So there's provisions made with this burnt offering for if you don't have very much money.
You can cast the feathers eastward.
Yeah, exactly. Because
God likes pillow fights.
You can usually find pigeons just like on the ground, So anyway, so then we get to the second offering, also a voluntary offering. Okay. This is a very important offering because it's called the grain offering or the mincha. Mincha. Okay. This is now. It says when anyone presents a grain offering, his offering should be of fine flour. Now, fine flour doesn't mean cake flour or self-rising flour. It actually means
the texture.
It's the semolina part of the grain. It's the finest part.
Okay.
So this is what Italians make fine pasta out of.
Okay.
The semolina. And so you take away all the outer stuff and get the choice part. And that's
gotcha.
So you get the idea also.
So none of the scraps.
No.
Well, it's funny is because as we look through the flour, like the finest grain, and also with the flock offering, it's the one without blemish. It's the first fruits, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And they always chose a male because the males were the most devastating to lose. It's like, okay, so this female sheep can bear one, a year.
But he'll sire
1,000.
He's a champ.
Just let him go, man. And so that was a supreme sacrifice. Was a male. So we got the semolina, the choice parts of the grain, and he's to pour oil on it and put frankincense on it. Now, apparently, I just learned this, that frankincense is actually edible.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either, but it is an organic substance, and apparently it's edible, because what they did was they would take the grain and the oil and the frankincense, and they would make like a dough out of it. And so what happened is the priest then would dig in and take a big old fistful of the dough and put it on the fire, and that would be the first portion of the offering to God. Okay, now if you read it on a little bit. It says, when you bring an offering of a grain offering baked in an oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers spread with oil. The priest shall offer it up in smoke, its memorial portion on the altar, and so on and so forth. But then it says, the remainder of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his son, a thing most holy. Now, when it says most holy, then that doesn't mean it's perfect in and of itself or righteous or anything. It just means that the priests get to eat it.
Okay.
So when it's most holy, that means they get to eat some.
Yeah.
They keep the rest. Now it says, see if I can find. It tells all the different details here, but it says that you're not supposed to put leaven in it, and you're also not supposed to put honey in it.
Yeah.
Because
verse 11.
Verse 11. There it is. So the leaven thing is. Basically anything that would alter its original state. It's like genetically modified. You don't want that. You know. So the fermentation process is going to alter the original state of the ingredients that God made. So you don't want to leaven it. But also you don't want to include honey, because honey was considered by pagan cultures to be some sort of way of enhancing the food offering so that the gods would enjoy it. Now here we go with the difference. We're offering food to God, but God's not ever eating the food.
Yeah.
In the pagan cultures, they had to make food, and they had to believe that the gods were eating it to appease the gods.
Pagans had to have honey baked ham.
That's where it's like, man, you can season that turd up good enough for somebody like to eat it. So they're like, you can't be feeding the gods no turds, man.
The definition of frankincense is an odoriferous.
Yeah, it is.
Odoriferous.
A Franklin? The Franklin is odoriferous.
It is an herb. That's exactly right.
Odoriferous.
But see, that's the thing, is they would put the cake on the altar, and it would bake, and it would have this fragrance. Right?
I bet reading all this makes me want to smell what's going on in there.
I know. And see, that we'll probably go over this at some point in another episode, but they had a specific recipe for the incense that was used in the tabernacle and the temple.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what that recipe is.
No,
really?
To this day.
Now, let me ask you this, Peter.
Secret ingredients.
That's pretty cool.
Would you like to smell that?
I would.
They couldn't offer, they couldn't put honey on it or anything like that, but why did they have to salt it?
Okay, here we're going to get to the salt.
Okay.
Now, before we get to the salt, this offering was acknowledging God as the provider.
Yeah.
It was a thanksgiving offering. But you gave the whole dough to the priest. He would bring a fistful, put it on the altar, and then they would bake the rest of it, and the priest would eat it.
Yeah.
Does your version say put it on the griddle?
Yeah,
that's what this one says.
There's a griddle, there's a pan, there's a couple of other things.
It said blackstone in here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What's the Hebrew word for blackstone? Okay, so salt is a very important ingredient. In fact, it'll say later. I'm not sure where any of these verses are found, because I'm just rolling with it today.
Yeah, because we jacked around for about 40 minutes.
I know, that's the thing. So there you go. We're almost to offering 3. But it says in here that you shall not exclude salt from any offering.
Okay.
Any offering, you should always include salt with every offering. So the burnt offerings got to have salt with it. Every one of these offerings have to have salt. And there's 2 reasons, especially for the meat offerings, is that the salt would draw out any remaining blood.
Okay.
So that's a big deal. But also, there's this idea that, in fact, we find it all the way back into Abraham's day, that it was a covenant ingredient, that it was a covenant of salt.
Okay.
And it was the idea of permanence, of it was just considered like a valuable ingredient that was included in a covenant.
Yeah.
And so you get this idea that you're drawing out the impurities of the blood, and you're including that you're making that promise of a covenant. You're setting it in salt. We can expound upon that later, but that's a common ingredient. So you got the olah, you got the minshot. Those are voluntary. When you want to give thanks to God, you bring your whole family, bring the dough. They do it. You smell the smell, and you go home. Okay?
Yeah.
So then there is the peace offering, or the fellowship offering. That's even a better word for that. In chapter 3, if his offering is a sacrifice of peace offerings, if he's going to offer out of the herd, whether male or female, now this is a little leeway here, it has to be without defect. He says, he shall lay his hand on the head of the offering, slay it at the doorway of the tent of meeting, sprinkle the blood around the altar. Now, this is an offering that you would give to fulfill a vow or express devotion in some particular way. Here's the interesting thing about this peace offering or fellowship offering. Now, it wasn't to get peace with God, because God don't play that way. You're either with me and you're in my covenant, or you're not.
Or you're a salt pile.
That's exactly right.
Well, it says in Numbers 18:19, these offerings of holy gifts of the sons of Israel I offer to the Lord have given to you and your sons and your daughters with you a perpetual allotment as an everlasting covenant of salt before the Lord.
There's the salt covenant right there.
Yeah, it's Numbers 18:19.
First time we see that, and we see it again. And so when we think about we're the salt of the earth,
it's a covenant.
Yeah. So he says, if a salt has become unsalty, what happened? You just put yourself outside the covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
See?
It all comes back around.
See?
Okay. So this peace or fellowship offering is this almost like a consecration. I'm dedicating myself to the Lord, or I made a vow and I've kept it. So I'm going to come and I'm going to bring this offering. But it is a very, very, very communal kind of experience, because you notice you can bring a male or a female. You can bring from the herd or the flock and all that kind of stuff. But the first offering, nobody eats. It's all burned up. Second offering, the priests eat. This one, everybody gets to eat. So when you do your peace offering, you move inside to the court, and everybody's around a huge
So folks
table.
like to see them peace offerings show up.
That's exactly right. And so it's God, the priests, and the worshippers' family, symbolizing fellowship and communion with God. Now, he goes into a little more elaborate description here. He says, lay his hand on the head of the offering, slay it, on and on and on. And he says, he shall bring as an offering by fire to the Lord its fat, the entire fat tail, which he shall remove close to the backbone, and the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them, which is on the loins, and the lobe of the liver, which he shall remove with the kidneys. The priest offers that up on the smoke of fire to the Lord. The Lord
can have that part, God.
But that was the choice part to them.
I know. Oh, some people still love the organs, but
I love the organ meat.
Do you?
I absolutely.
Are you an oxtail guy too?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man,
yes. I'm a liver guy. I'm a kidney guy. I just love it.
Oh,
I got some calf liver sitting in my refrigerator right now.
Yeah, you can have all the livers.
It's good for you.
It is good for you.
So anyway, the kidneys and all of the fat part was that was what they lived for.
Yeah,
and all that goes to God, and then the rest of it gets cooked, and they sit around and they eat the whole thing.
So like the steaks and the ribeyes, they
got those. Yep.
There you
shank. They got the whole shank.
Yeah.
A bull shank is pretty good eating.
That is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So and here's another side note here too: the lobe of the liver. Why does God want the lobe of the liver? Well, it's not that God loves liver. God's not eating any of this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But the liver, if you remember, we talked about this a long time ago, was sort of a fortune-telling element. They would literally extract the liver when they would sacrifice an animal, and there was like little veins and spots and everything, and they could, like reading tea leaves. They would divine the future with it. And God's saying, nope, give me that part. I ain't going to allow you to be tempted to do that. I know you people too well.
Going to burn that up.
Burn it up. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, too, that it's given to God, because in verse 17 it says, it's a perpetual statute throughout your generations and all your dwellings. You shall not eat any fat or any blood.
That's exactly right.
So instead of eating it, you give it to the Lord.
Yeah, and he's talking about in the context of this offering.
Right.
Like you could eat the fat at home.
Yeah. But at the temple, you can't.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't get the fat, God gets the fat.
Yeah.
And you're never supposed to drink blood. You're never supposed to eat blood.
Right.
That, Leviticus and even Exodus is very, very clear about that.
Yeah.
So you always know that. Okay, so now we get to offering number 4.
Was that's because you're eating the life, basically?
Yes, absolutely.
Life force.
Yeah. You are. Yeah.
It wasn't just I know some of the stuff we've covered in past episodes, it's like they had some of these laws actually for safety.
Yeah,
like as far as like with the pigs and
Like
things.
shellfish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back then, it'll kill you.
Because they didn't want them to be shellfish. Yeah.
But like this isn't just a cleanliness thing. This is like, no, you're not ingesting the life force of another.
This is a theological thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
No salmonella for you.
No, that's exactly right. Okay, so now these next 2 offerings are mandatory.
Gotcha.
If you find yourself in this situation, you must do this offering or consequences. Now,
Dun, dun, dun.
before we get to this, you're asking about things like murder and adultery.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go out and you commit murder on purpose, commit adultery. You don't ever commit adultery accidentally.
I was going to say.
I slipped and fell.
I was just about to ask. I was like, can you do that accidentally?
See, that's the whole thing about it is we have this idea that these sacrifices were for forgiveness of sins. So it was, cleansing me as if I'd never sinned. That was not at all in the scope there.
So it's more like because I sinned.
That's what these are about, but it's not personal sin. Okay. We're going to see this in a minute. We're not none of these 5 offerings are dealing with your personal sin. Okay. So personal sin on purpose that is of that nature, the penalty is the death penalty.
I was just sitting there thinking that, like, if you committed adultery, didn't they just stone you?
Yep.
So you probably didn't go and tell them like, "Hey, man, sorry, I committed adultery."
And if you killed someone, they just killed you back.
Yep. Yeah. They absolutely
eye for eye. Yeah.
And we're going to see this come up here in just a moment.
I love Pat. If you killed someone, they just killed you back.
Killed you back. Yeah. That's exactly right. There's this one page that I wanted to. Yeah. Okay, there it is. All right. So anyway. There is something called the sin offering. It's katat, and there's a whole big thing as to why it's pronounced that way. But this is a sin offering. This is, and get this part of it. This is for unintentionally.
I was just reading that.
Breaking the.
If a person sins unintentionally in any of the things which the Lord has commanded not to be done and commits any of them.
Then it also says, if the anointed priest sins, what happens when the priest sins is he brings guilt on all the people because he's in sacred space the whole time, committing these sins. Okay, the sin offering is really it's a heart issue, it's a community issue, it's faithfulness to the covenant.
Yeah.
So it's not just a moral failure. You could break these commandments accidentally all the time.
Yeah.
And when you think about being unclean is not that you let out a swear word or that you stole something or lied or something. No, there was a whole classification of things that were unclean.
Yeah.
Bodily fluids were all unclean. If your uncle dies in the living room, you got to move him outside. You're just unclean
7
now.
days.
Yeah, you didn't touch the dead body.
So is this the Lord forgive them for they know not what they do?
Yes and no. Yes, because they don't know that they did it and somebody brings it to their attention, but they're not ignorant of what the Lord's commandments are.
Okay.
They don't know what they do is like they're blind, they're ignorant.
Gotcha.
They don't know that they're, but
ungifted.
Ungifted, yeah. There you go.
Idiotes.
But anyway, so you could mess around and touch something unclean, or you could, it's like.
Was it just a person, or could it be an animal?
I think it's for the group, right? For everyone.
It's applying to the people, but it can involve animals, things like that.
Yeah.
You could wake up and you go, oh, I got a white pussy sore on my arm. I'm unclean.
I gotcha.
You're automatically unclean.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, unclean is contagious. So if I'm already unclean and I just touch you, you are now unclean.
Yeah.
So white pussy sore, that means no teenagers were in the temple.
Not for long.
And how long were you unclean for?
Well, there's a whole process by which you regain your clean status.
Yeah.
And some of it involves, like in the case of leprosy, you have to go get checked by the priest, and all this different kinds of things. But as far as after pregnancy, the woman was unclean. In fact, we see that in the life of Mary, when she had to wait her prescribed period,
monthly cycles.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, and just having sexual activity, that's your
unclean.
There you go. I gotta and so all of these things, any of those things could make you unclean, and it was basically you're unqualified to occupy any
sacred space.
That's exactly right.
Gotcha.
And so then there is the other side of it, which is covenant faithfulness, which means that if you accidentally violated one of God's commands, maybe you ate the wrong thing, or maybe any one of these things, then you are in breach of the covenant. That is, you were in a sinful state. You didn't necessarily commit a crime or do anything that we would say, oh, that's wrong, whatever.
Yeah.
You were just in an unfaithful state. So you have the sin offering, the katat, and this is to offer to the Lord a bull. No substitutes allowed. It's got to be a bull. Wait, I got to double check that.
Yeah, it's verse 14.
Do you got to bring your own?
Yes. Yeah, there's no substitute for. Oh no, there is for the sin offering. The last one, there's no substitute for. Okay. You can bring something from the flock for the sin offering. It could be a sheep or it could be a goat.
Gotcha.
But there you go. So the priest, he brings the blood of you slay the bull, and the priest brings some of the blood of the bull into the tent of meeting, dip his finger in the blood, sprinkle some of the blood 7 times before the Lord in front of the veil of the sanctuary. Okay. Then put the blood on the horns of the altar of fragrant incense, which is before the Lord in the tent of meeting, and then pour out all the blood at the base of the altar. That's the law, the sin offering. Okay.
Yeah.
So different animals were required depending on the social status of the person. If it's a priest, this, or a ruler, this, or a common person, this. As far as I know, nobody gets to eat this. As far as I know, I think
not that I see.
They burn it all up.
Well, they just use the blood.
Yeah.
No, they all the fat, everything has to be burnt. All that stuff. Yeah. Okay, but the main thing here is this is a purification offering. This is to make you covenant safe again.
Right.
Right. So you're now you still, if you're going to go inside, you have to offer your burnt offering to go inside, which is voluntary. But you are outside of fellowship with God, and this offering, this sin offering, purifies you from whatever you did.
How often would they do this?
Every time they went to the temple.
Anytime they...
Like how often in like a month? Would they do this multiple times in a month? Or was this...
In the temple days, they were supposed to sacrifice every morning and every night.
Man, I'd go through a lot of dadgum livestock.
Hundreds of thousands of animals, yeah.
Delouse.
Yeah, dang. Because see, I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, a medium-sized bull is a... Decent one's 1,500 pounds, but they didn't live long enough to get size on.
No. We talked about it when we were talking in First Kings with Solomon. How many was it that they
hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Solomon went way over the top. But here's also the deal too: is the priests, the Levites, all of the temple attendants, including the musicians and everything else, all the tribe of Levi, they had no way to make a living.
Yep.
They had nothing to eat. They no way to feed themselves, and so this was part of their sustenance as well.
So they wanted those.
Yeah, both salmon. That's exactly right.
It's like, hey, don't notice
your shoulder.
Yeah, don't notice that good-looking woman outside when you walk out, brother.
That'll be Peter going, "Oh, here comes Logan. We got some good breakfast today."
Yeah, he's like, "We're gonna be full after this one."
Here's the thing: is this one and the next one. It's kind of like, it'd be interesting to hear the gossip that went on.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. There goes Pat.
He's got 3 bulls.
Man, you see what all that dude's got?
I know. Man. And we'll see it especially with this next one because This is honestly the one with the heaviest weight. And this is what they call the guilt offering. And of course, when we put that in our English mind, it means, well, you're guilty of something. And in some sense, it is true, but it just goes way deeper than that. In fact, it kind of comes in a couple of phases, because the first phase of this guilt offering is if you mishandle holy things. If you go into the tent of meeting and the priest is doing the incense and everything, something falls into your backpack, you get home and he's like, oh shoot, I got the holy fork. or if you accidentally destroy something or mar something, all these implements, they had to be, they had to be sanctified. And they did all these rituals with them. And if you mishandle it or dishonor it in some way or break it or something like that, you got to make this offering. But then, I'm going to read a little bit of this because it starts out with mishandling the holy utensils. Okay, so, well, actually, okay. This is there's a laundry list here. Okay, so here it goes. If anyone touches any unclean thing, carcass of an unclean beast, carcass of an unclean cattle, on and on and on, human uncleanness, whatever his uncleanness may be, if he swears thoughtlessly with his lips to do evil or to do good, in whatever manner a man may speak thoughtlessly with an oath, thoughtless oaths. Yeah, how about that? And it is hidden from him, and then he comes to know it. He'll be guilty in one of these. And so he goes on. He will bring a guilt offering to the Lord. And he goes on and on about what you're supposed to do on the stuff. Okay, so you can bring all manner of different animals depending on your social status, all this stuff like that. And then, brings it to the priest, and the priest makes atonement. Okay, so this is like the big unclean thing. But then the second part of it is, if a person acts unfaithfully and sins unintentionally against the Lord's holy things. This is like the heaviest one. Because like if you just touch an unclean thing or whatever, you can go a bull, you can do a calf, you can do a lamb, you can do turtle doves, you can do pigeons, you can do some grain. It's just a matter of whatever you can afford. But
this one's a person.
This one is a person. Yeah, absolutely. Bring your mother.
They keep a few out back at the temple for you if you can't.
If you can't afford your mother, bring her cousin. That's right. Now it said, this is the wild thing. It says, if he sins unintentionally against the Lord's holy things, he shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord, a ram. That's all you can bring. It's got to be a ram. A ram without defect from the flock, and then you got to add something to it. According to your valuation in silver by shekels, in terms of the shekel of the sanctuary, for a guilt offering.
Now, who came up with that? Who came up with that amount?
That's just a God thing. It says, he shall make restitution for that which he has sinned against the holy thing, and shall add to it a fifth part of it. So you add 20%, give it to the priest, and the priest makes atonement, so on and so forth. And same thing here. If a person sins and does any of the things which the Lord has commanded not to be done, though he was unaware, still he is guilty and shall bear his punishment. Here we go with the ram thing again. So we got the unclean thing, and now we've got so sin offering is we could call the purification offering. The guilt offering is the reparation offering. In fact, my little Claude guy he says reparation offering instead of guilt offering. The asham, that's what that's called here. The asham was specifically about making things right when measurable damage occurred. Stealing for someone, misusing sacred property, false oaths involving property. The key element was restitution plus 20% to the wrong party, then the sacrifice. It wasn't about feeling guilty or getting personal forgiveness. It was about repairing the damage done to relationships and community. That's what it was all about. So it's like, you need to make restitution for that, and just for good measure, I'm going to charge you 20%. The Old Testament says, here's what Claude says. He was being funny. The emphasis on restitution in the reparation offering is particularly foreign to modern just ask Jesus for forgiveness thinking. The Old Testament said, you broke it, you fix it with interest.
With interest.
Yeah.
With interest. I like it.
So those are the 5 types of offerings. 3 are voluntary, 2 are voluntary but expected.
Yeah.
It's like you can't. And then 2 are mandatory when there is a breach of covenant and when there is ritual uncleanness.
So how do these sacrifices play into their salvation, or do they at all?
They do not, honestly, at all, because you're either in the covenant community
or you're not,
or you're out.
Yeah.
See, the other punishment, there are a few serious sins. Injuring people, raping somebody, those kinds of things. You wouldn't
we probably
necessarily
can't say that on YouTube. We'll say grape,
yeah, graping somebody. That is, let's say, sexual violation.
Witnessing. Yeah. They were witnessing somebody.
Yes. But some of those sins, you wouldn't get put to death, but you would get put out of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no restoration for you. You're now a pagan.
So is that person condemned?
Yeah.
Like in God's eyes?
If you get put out of the camp,
well, you're out of fellowship with Yahweh at that point.
Yeah.
You are not one of his chosen people because you cannot operate in the same space as the rest of the people.
What if someone was wrongfully accused?
Well, I'm sure Leviticus has something to say about it, but I have no idea.
They got 613 rules, so
I just am curious because I'm really not even joking on that. Like, I just wonder because you see it today. Our justice system, there are people wrongfully accused, so it makes me wonder. Like, what if somebody was wrongfully kicked out of camp, and then are they removed from God? It
would probably determine how they acted once they were outside of camp.
Yeah.
Did they turn away from fellowship, or did they try their best to continue?
That is the key factor because, especially the guilt offering deals more with the condition of the heart and the intent than it does
the ritual,
the actual action that you committed.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, if you read into these, we're really just skimming over the surface of most of this, but if you really get into it, you'll see that he's talking about the oath sworn thoughtlessly and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. If you have a posture of I'm pompous, I'm entitled, God's not going to play with that. And so and there also is this concept too. I said earlier that the sinful priest could bring guilt on the whole nation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It affected everybody.
Because he basically contaminated the temple, right?
Yes. And so if a person or people who had not been ritually cleansed, for instance, if you went through the motions and did your cleansing thing, but there was no heart involved in it at all,
you're not clean.
Still covering up sin,
right?
And you went into that tent of meeting, it's possible that you could cause a whole plague to come on the people.
Yeah.
And it's not because God is angry and will strike them with just when unclean things meet holy things, something bad's going to happen.
Well, they're making the temple unclean.
That's exactly right. And so now God has to exit or be repelled from or shrink back from the people itself because God cannot operate in that space.
I'm thinking about the way I look at that now. Then I'm thinking about the Pharisees and all them during Jesus. And I mean, those guys, they were unclean.
Because of their hearts. And that's what Jesus was trying to call out.
So was the temple tainted basically in where they were?
I think the temple honestly was mostly irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Jesus was calling out because he called himself the temple.
Yeah. I love the fact that even all the way back in Leviticus, we see that it's this motive, this heart posture that we see played all throughout all of Scripture.
Absolutely.
And we can do the right things. You can do the right thing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Well, and truthfully, there are passages in the Old Testament, and then of course Paul picks it up in the New Testament.
Oh yeah, Paul hammers them.
It's like circumcision means nothing.
Yeah.
Sacrifices mean nothing. The temple means nothing.
Idols mean nothing.
You need a circumcision of your heart, is what he says. And even Ezekiel says that more than one time. And then he even says, "I'm going to take out your heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh."
Yeah.
So there's all of that is wrapped up in there for sure. You can't you can't just go through the motions and expect to remain in the covenant with God, in right standing with God.
Yeah.
if we fast forward to the New Testament, we'll spend these last few minutes kind of going there.
Okay.
Because Jesus then called himself the temple, making and he prophesied that the temple was going to be destroyed, and it was, just 30 years or 35 years after he rose again. And it's like, you guys are going to have to deal without this, but it doesn't matter because the kingdom of heaven is here. I'm the temple.
Yep.
And then when Paul picks this back up again, he says, "Don't you know that you are the temple?" Okay, so this is why understanding a little bit about these rituals and these sacrifices really means something, because let's just imagine ourselves as the temple, and then let's imagine these 5 offerings sort of apply to us.
Yeah.
And this is the conversation we were having before we started rolling, is the sacrifices were much more about worship and right standing than they were confession, repentance, and I need to have my sins forgiven.
Yeah.
Even this word atonement doesn't really mean what we think of, because we think of Jesus, the atonement theories, all this stuff. How did he make things right with the world?
Penal substitutionary atonement.
It's that Jesus did, he fulfilled all the reasons that we had to have those sacrifices in the first place.
That's right.
So Jesus went even beyond what they were able to do. They were able to maintain their covenant relationship with God and operate in his space. But Jesus says, hold my root beer, I'm going to do all of that stuff, plus I am going to make it possible for you to be as if you've never sinned.
Yeah.
Which could never be accomplished in any Old Testament scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to read a couple of verses.
So would you say that the power of worship is way more than the power of confession?
Well, let's just say you can't do business with God until you have done your sacrifices on the way in the temple.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
So this is what we're talking about. Okay.
Scuba diver.
Well, that's the analogy, right? Okay. So you got if you ever even want to go face to face with God, you got to do this burnt offering, right?
Yeah.
And then if you want to truly have a thankful posture toward God, you need to give him something that's valuable to you. Let's give him the choice grain. And then let the priests have it. And then, if you want to have fellowship with God and each other, then let's do a peace offering and let's have this big old bowl and let's all eat. And then, but then I find out, oh no, I've touched something unclean. I'm not allowed to come in now. Well, I better do my sin offering. And then, okay, I did something kind of on purpose. And, I had a choice between two things and I chose the wrong thing, and I'm going to do a guilt offering and make good on it. I make reparations. That's something we don't even consider in our worship today.
That's right.
Is that, we have offended God. We have quenched the Holy Spirit. All this. How are we going to make that right? By, Paul says, present yourself a living sacrifice.
That's right.
Yeah. He's going right back to these temple days.
Yep.
And he's saying, this is your reparation offering, And so I gave this analogy about a deep sea diver, right? And this is the way that I feel like we should approach a holy God in worship every time. Deep sea diver goes all the way down to the bottom. He's in the dark, murky, whatever. How does that deep sea diver get back to the top? Does he do it all at once?
Not if he wants to stay alive.
That's exactly right. Then it'll call
There's steps as he goes up.
Yeah, and various things that you have to do with your equipment from up top. There's got to be this communication. We got to bring this diver back up in stages.
Yeah.
And so then when the diver's head finally breaks the plane of the water, then he can breathe. He is free. He is in the place where he belongs.
Yeah.
And that's what I think of with these sacrifices. And this is the way that I think in worship. Oftentimes it's just like, let's go 3 songs and a story, and just all go home, right? And it's like, no, I don't think that's kind of what we're supposed to do. I think we're supposed to prepare ourselves before we get there. And I think we're supposed to, worship the Lord. We come together with thanksgiving and praise and singing, and then we sort of, funnel down and we funnel down and we funnel down. It's almost like we're trying to break the surface of that water.
Yeah.
We're coming up out of the darkness of this earth, and boom, now we're in the presence of God.
Right.
Now we can breathe. Now we are who we are meant to be. Now now we can hear.
We're in that space.
Why did Jesus tell the woman at the well, you've got to worship in spirit and in truth? Because you can't hear the truth until you've been in the spirit.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what worship is all about. And this is exactly a pattern that we get that was, literally thousands of years old, that God instituted from the beginning. Do we do those things anymore? No. But yes, we do. Yeah. We should.
Yeah. Well, that's what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 14. He says, I pray with spirit and in mind.
Well, and Paul says in Ephesians 5, he said that Jesus offered himself a fragrant offering.
That's right.
Yeah.
He offered the first fruits of himself for us so that we could occupy his space.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then I got to just we're almost there. But in light of all this, I want to read from Hebrews 10, just a few verses. This will blow your mind, because the author of Hebrews, whoever he or she may be, them. Talks about making this big giant plea, this big giant case for people that are, they're tired of being persecuted as Christians. Like, I'm just going to go back to being a Jew. It's like, no, you can't go back, because Jesus did all this stuff, and whatever price you have to pay, it's worth it, right?
Yep.
Jesus is the better Moses. He's a better sacrifice. All this stuff, and he gets to this whole idea of this temple ritual stuff. And he says this. He says, for the law, since it has only a shadow of the good things to come and not the very form of things, substance of things, can never by the same sacrifices year by year, which they offer continually, make perfect those who draw near. Otherwise, would they not have ceased to be offered, because the worshipers, having once been cleansed, would no longer have had consciousness of sin. So it's like, no, these things don't fix it once and for all.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the greatest part. For it is impossible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sins.
There you go. Yep.
I mean, what does that say about the sacrifices in the Old Testament?
Yep.
Cannot take away sins.
Yep.
They can cleanse you, make you, and qualify you, decontaminate you, but it can't take away sins.
Yep.
He said, therefore, when he comes into the world, he says, and he starts quoting Old Testament like crazy. He says, sacrifice and offerings you have not desired, but a body you have prepared for me. In whole burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you have taken no pleasure. Then I said, behold, I have come. In the roll of the book it is written of me. And that was the idea, is that if your name was written in the book, then someday you would be delivered from Sheol, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not right now, but when in the last day. Behold, I have come to do your will, O God. After saying above, sacrifices and offerings and whole burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you have not desired, nor have you taken pleasure in them, which are offered according to the law. And then he goes on and on, but then he says, by this will we have been sanctified, through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all.
Yeah. Well, we got to read verse 9 too. He takes away the first order and to establish the second.
That's true. That's the pivot right there. Yep. And every priest stands daily ministering and offering time after time the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. But he, having offered one sacrifice for sins for all time, sat down at the right hand of God, waiting from that time onward until his enemies be made a footstool for his feet. For by one offering he has perfected for all time those who are sanctified. And he just goes on and on.
See, when I read a passage of Hebrews like that, I'm like, Paul wrote that. Like, that reads a lot like Paul. And some spots in Hebrews read nothing like Paul.
I know. Whoever it is was very well acquainted with Leviticus.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they just knew.
For sure.
And they knew what these sacrifices meant, probably participated in them.
Well, it's funny. I mean, just looking at it now, again, we've always talk about context, and the verse 9, like I said, then he said, behold, I have come to do your will. He takes away the first in order to establish the second. If I just was reading through that, I wouldn't know what they're talking about.
I have no idea.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Having come from Leviticus to here, it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Takes away the first sacrifice, first offering. There you go. Makes sense.
Absolutely. And then, when we get to the verses about, having offered forgiveness once, that's a verse you can take out of context.
Yes.
Because some people say, oh, no, you were forgiven. When Christ died on the cross and you accepted him, everything is forgiven.
Yep.
So you never have to ask for forgiveness again.
Yeah. I've had people say that in a different denomination. They didn't believe in they didn't think that repenting was necessary.
Right.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, I don't have to. God died on the cross for my sins.
Yep. And I accepted him. So I'm forgiven forever, never, never. Amen.
Yep.
So that's just like saying I never have to go to the temple again and offer my bull.
Yep.
You know, it's like, well, Jesus offered it once and for all. There is forgiveness, but you can still step out of a relationship with God and suffer the consequences of it. Does that mean you're automatically going to hell? No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like Paul says, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't break fellowship with God.
I would also kind of say, and maybe I'm overstepping here, but I would say if you truly are saved, you would want to repent and you would want, you know what I'm saying? Like you would.
I've heard Peter say this a lot, and I believe it's absolutely true. It's when you're saved, it's not that you sin less; it's just you don't enjoy it as much.
Yes,
that's exactly right.
And I think that conviction is the Holy Spirit working in every one of us.
Yeah, like I don't think you would be saying to yourself, "Well, I sin, but that's all right." I'm
Some
saved.
people, I have heard these people too say, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go do this because I'll just ask for forgiveness later."
Yeah.
See, then that's not even. Is that truly repenting?
I would say go back and revisit your salvation. I can't say if anyone is saved or not. Yeah. But I can say if that's your mindset, you might want to go look at your salvation.
Yeah.
See if that was a true conversion.
Examination there, yeah.
I mean, as a Christian, I have done some incredibly stupid things.
Yes.
Oh, for real.
And
today.
Even when it talks about he's committing this morning, this afternoon, when it talks about sinning unknowingly.
Yep.
Now, there have been times when I have knowingly done some stuff on purpose.
Yep.
But then I will get myself into a certain place where I go, I had no idea how far away from God I am right now.
Yep.
I unknowingly got to this point. I never wanted to get to this point.
Like snowballs.
Yeah. It just led me to that place.
Yep.
You just find yourself outside.
I kind of get that. And it's like, I want to go find a bull right now.
Yes.
And sacrifice something that's valuable to me.
Except that you're the bull.
There you go.
Yeah.
We can all be bullheaded.
A daily sacrifice. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mind bender.
It is.
But when we were talking about straight out of context, this is one of the ideas and the passages that we as modern evangelical Christians have gotten straight out of context.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it really is hard to understand. Because we have to put ourselves back in the ancient Near East mind.
Mm-hmm.
God is relating to them in their own context, with their own language, and they understand exactly what this is all about.
For sure.
And when God says, "You shall have no other gods before me; don't worship any other gods," this is the way we do it. Because
I would even say that they struggled with it in the New Testament, hence why he wrote that in Hebrews.
Oh, absolutely. Then they were struggling with all the stuff. There's like, okay. But Christianity, Jesus was a Jew, so Christianity's for the Jews. These are still pagans out here.
Yeah.
It's like Paul's having to spend like chapter after chapter after letter saying, no, we're all one. We're all one. How many times do I have to say it?
I love the parts in Paul's letters where he's like, and the rest I will address when I get there.
I know.
It's just too much to tell you.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you in my last letter?
That's please refer to previous email.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Per my last email. Yeah.
So let us know what you think about reading Leviticus.
Yep.
We'll probably dip into it a little bit more later on because some of these code chapters might be worth visiting.
In
future episodes. Because boy, can those be taken straight out of context.
Man.
Golly. Oh,
yes.
Man.
Yes. Y'all comment below. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know if Leviticus is your favorite book of the Bible.
Yes, completely.
Or does Leviticus make you cuss?
Yes.
Yes. Leviticus.
Leviticus.
I like it.
All right, guys.
Because legit, I cuss.
Yes.
I like it.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next week.
Absolutely.